Hey everyone, it's Dragon Lord John again, ready here for round 2 of our campaign diary series, the Fitzherbert Chronicles. So to recap, last time I basically kind of, talked about, how the party started, them getting to the bar, them all meeting up, them all going on their first adventure together, going through, the fire bandits, killing the black dragon, and becoming a member of the regional lord Bartholomitz Fitzherbert's private militia, and having little badges and stuff like that, and that kind of being the framing device over which all their other adventures would be incited. And I talked a little bit about the lessons I learned, not needing a map, letting your characters do what they want, and I think the biggest one is being less plot contrived. And I kind of learned little tips and tricks on, okay, I don't need to be so plot contrived, and sometimes the players will also just be nice and just kind of go with things, even though they may not have super great motivation or super great reason for their character to be motivated to doing it, but they'll go ahead and do it. Part of that's also because of the fact that everyone else was new and everyone else realizes this is the adventure. This is what he's plopped down for us. Let's go do it. Doesn't matter why. Let's just go do it. So on our second one, this was actually kind of cool. So we finished the first adventure, that whole fire bandits thing, on the drive up, on a school bus, on the drive up to a marching band competition in Spokane. So we got up there, actually we finished just about as we were ending the campaign, that little adventure. So then we're like, okay. So we had a great day. We had a great time at the marching band competition. We actually did really well. And that was awesome. We were all feeling great. And we're cleaning up afterwards. It's like 7 at night, but it's like pitch black almost out because it's Spokane. It's winter. And I said, hey guys, do you guys want to play some more when we get back on the bus? And everyone's like, heck yeah! We had a great time with that first adventure. And I was like, oh yeah! And we're having a great time now. Let's keep going. Let's go some more. You got stuff? I'm like, yeah, I can come up with stuff in the next hour. They're like, sure, let's play this again. So sure enough, we sat down, we pulled out our character sheets, and for the next 2-hour drive home, we played more D&D. So this time, I was like, okay, you guys are members of last time we left our heroes, you're members of the private militia, and, about a week goes by, Raiden's got his dragon arm working on, and, Fritzless comes up to you, and he summons you. Sorry, not Fritzless, he's important. Stay tuned for Fritzless. No, Fitzherbert, Bartholomitz, as I will try and refer to him simply because we have Fitzherbert and we have Fritzless. So those are two important characters that we're going to need to remember. And so I will call Fitzherbert Bartholomitz, simply for simplicity's sake. So they come to, so Bartholomitz summons them to his kind of his throne room. They come up and he's like, I have an assignment for you. And he explains that, and the adventure this time was like, his niece and nephew have been kidnapped, and he suspects that the lord to the north, to the regent to the north, Fritzless, now see, here we go, told you he was important, Fritzless was the one to kidnap them. He suspects, but he doesn't have proof, and so he's like, hey, I can tell you where they were last kidnapped. I want you guys to go investigate, go find out. So, he sends them off to the north. They go, he sends them, okay, this is where, he sends actually with, a guard with them, the leader of the guards, to go with them. So that way he can show them where it happened. Sure enough, they go up the path, and I think I had them fight bandits or something like that. There was some real quick encounter I had them do, and again, it was pretty quick. It was just to kind of show them that there are going to be challenges along the way. It wasn't going to be super simple. But it wasn't anything that really stopped them either. And sure enough, they get there, they're like, okay, they find a place, and actually I had them get ambushed by another couple guards, by another couple, soldiers show up and ambush them, and they kill them real fast. I mean, there was 3 guards, and I learned my lesson from last time. Don't have super high AC characters, especially at first. Unless that's the point, is that the characters can't touch the enemy. For just regular guards or soldiers, keep their AC around 15 or so, in my opinion. 12 if he's lightly armored, 15 is kind of, he's pretty well armored, and 16, 17 if he's supposed to be heavily armored. Unless you don't want him to be touched and you want it to be really hard, in which case, yeah, crank it up to closer to 20. So they dispatched these guys pretty quickly again, and I think we had all 7 this point. I think Sneaky was back in, plus we had Hazel, the half-elf bard as well. So sure enough, we had everyone together, they fought these soldiers, they find out, oh, sure enough, they're wearing the crest of Fritzless. So yes, it's clearly Fritzless, and they found signs of struggle, and so they all go to, oh gosh, I can't remember the name of the city. Shoot. Oh, I should have better notes on me. And again, it was also a year ago, but yeah, sure enough, they go to the capital of Fritzless's region, and they walk in pretty unimpeded. I had to roll a stealth check. I had them at one point as they're going through a town. I said, roll me a deception check as you walk through. Are the people going to notice that you're because they're wearing this emblem of Fitzherbert of Bartholomitz's private militia and something like that, and they rolled up pretty high. And I think actually most of them stowed them away. I think when they realized, when I had them say, they're like, "Oh crap, can I take mine off and like stuff it somewhere?" I was like, "Sure." So one person, they took most of their badges off. They just stuffed it like up their shirts or into their pockets or something like that. And I was like, they're small, like almost like a police badge. Something you can fit in your pocket. And so that's what they did. They tore theirs off. They hit them. And I'm like, okay, people really don't have a reason to be suspicious. So they made it to the Kiev actually without any problem. But then it was actually then they had to get in. And this is actually where we saw a couple of our characters really shine. In the previous session, I should say in the previous adventure, we saw characters like Braden and Sonia, my two half-orcs, the barbarian, the fighter, really shine in combat. But this was a lot more less combat. This was more of social interaction. And this is where we saw the sorcerer, Danny, the tiefling sorcerer, and Sydney, the drow cleric, really shine. I mean, both of them had high charismas, and they took over the show, and they basically got the characters into the keep. They rolled like over 20s. They were not, I think they rolled like 18s and 19s for most of like the first 30 minutes of the encounter of when they got to the keep. And they managed to get themselves inside. They managed to get like even an audience with Fritzherbert. And managed to I can't remember what their cover story was. It was something where it's like, we're just like, traveling. I think Sydney passed herself off as like a kind of some sort of member of a higher family, and this was her entourage. Oh, and by the way, we brought this tiefling. They convinced Danny, who was this seductress sorcerer, to be this tiefling. We've brought you this demon to put in we captured this demon for you. And he's like, oh, thank you, throw him in the dungeons. And so they threw him in the dungeons. And this was actually a great place, as Danny used the opportunity to just sit there and listen into the guards and talk to the guards. He actually managed to get quite a bit of information, and he managed to figure out that sure enough, just in the next cell block over were the captives, were Bartholomitz's niece and nephew. And so sure enough, so later on, at first, they take them to the dungeon, and meanwhile the rest of the party stays up. They go into their rooms, and they spend a day, kind of just gain the good graces of everybody. And then they go and okay guys, let's do this. And they go down, they track down, they're like, hey, where's the dungeon? They ask a random servant. The servant's like, dungeon's down, just keep going down the staircase. Sure, and they go down the staircase. They had to subdue a guard at the bottom of the stairs quietly, and this is where Sneaky had a chance to shine. Sure enough, he used his stealth, he used his strength, and I think Sonya helped him out. I think so they got advantage, and they just basically choked the guy out, set him down. Very solid snake style. It's very cool. It's very cool to watch. And sure enough, once they got down there, they had to kill two guards, and he just killed them. Hurried, they got Danny out. They got the keys off another guards. They managed to open up. Sure enough, found the niece and nephew, managed to get them out. And it was a lot of kind of this was one that was a lot more social interaction. I think that was a great change of pace. And I think that's something that can be learned, is that if you have some combat, throw some social interaction, throw some things where, it's more about charisma and intelligence and stuff like that, or trying to deceive your way stuff where it's not so much fighting bandits or orcs or something like that. Make it more about political or something like that, or politics, or you gotta convince this person to like you or to let somebody go. And that's what it was. Sure enough, there were two main combat encounters. They had the combat, I should say, well, three. They had the ones where they found the guards at the kidnapping spot. They had the guards here to get into the dungeon, where they actually had to kill them as well. And sure enough, they escaped. They got out. They got going. And they right out of town, and they managed to do it fast enough, in a stealthy enough way, that First List doesn't pick up on this until about 30 minutes after they're already gone, in which case he sends a huge team of cavalry after them. And this was pretty fun. I told them this. I could I'm like, as you guys crest the hill, you look back and you can see this group of cavaliers just come charging along your path. And they're like, oh shoot. So what they did is they figured out, okay, well, we need to hide and let them pass us. So what they did is they said, okay, Sneaky, you're pretty fast. Why don't you go ahead, just ride ahead. We'll stop here and hide and send the horses with you. So sure enough, Sneaky rides ahead with all the horses. The rest of the party hides, and Sneaky says, I'll draw my way, and then I'll loop back to you guys on foot and just leave the horses just go charging through. And sure enough, that's what he did. And sure enough, I said, okay, roll stealth checks as you hide in the grass, and that's what they did. And I roll perception checks for the guards as they're for the cavaliers as they're charging past. They failed. The guys hide. They make it through, and I said, okay, two stay behind. I was like 2 stay behind or something like that, you know, they kind of trail behind. And I said, roll another stealth, and I think someone failed their stealth, like someone sneezed, I think of what it was. Someone sneezed. I think I had Sonya sneeze because she failed her check. And, you know, the guards are alerted, and they kind of look around, and they actually, you know, discovered there was another combat encounter. But they killed him pretty quickly. They killed him in only like 2 rounds. Again, you had like 6 guys, plus the nephew. He actually was a trained swordsman, so Sonya handed him an extra short sword she had. He's like, sweet, now I've got a sword, now I can fight, and that's what he does. He helps fight. So they had 7 guys fighting. And they killed these 2 cavaliers pretty quickly. And I think they managed to, like, you know, scare the horse, so the horse bucks, makes the cavaliers fall on the ground, so they're pros, so the players get advantage against them, and so they killed them pretty quickly, and that was just it. I'm like, okay, we killed them, let's get out of here. And sure enough, Sneaky comes back pretty quickly with the horses, and he like managed to get around, and, gets with the horses, and they actually ride back back to all the way across the kingdom. Anyway, there was a little bit of kind of, you know, fast forward because we were coming to the end of the trip. We were almost home, and so we're like, I'm like kind of like, all right, we're just gonna skip stuff. So they get back, and, you know, they get back into town, and, you know, they get there, and they're like getting home just in time for a courier to come back, and like they're in the throne room saying, hey, we found your niece, we found your nephew, here they are, they're in pretty good health, we took care of them. And Bartholomitz is like, hey, great job, guys, here, have some money, have like some potions of health, have some loot. And then a courier comes in like, oh, by the way, Fritzless just declared war. And that was where I left it. And I did it because, again, here I need a framing device. Now they were in the militia. Now they're going to be members fighting a war. And now I knew that was going to give me an opportunity to give them lots of stuff to do. You know, they were going to have reasons. They could fight his soldiers. They could have to stop an invasion. They could have to deal with supply routes. I knew that was going to be a lot of fun. And sure enough, we had quite a variety of different encounters and adventures, all based off the fact that they were at war. And while, again, it was kind of plot contrived, I think it worked well. And so I think I learned that, you know, plot contrivances can work well. And I think, and part of why it worked is that I kind of hinted at it, is that I think I had one point, I think I had a guard, like, you know, be like, I think when they got ambushed, you know, after discovering this is where they got kidnapped, or like the guard that was with them, who was like the leader of the guards, he's like, oh shoot, now Fritzless is going to see that we killed his guards. Oh crap, this could lead to war. And at one point, like, you know, after they'd freed, the nephew's like, quick, we got to get out of here. If, like, you find out that if you find this stuff out, this could lead to war. I think I slipped it in twice. I managed to slip it in twice. There was just enough where, yeah, I was kind of like, oh, great, there's no war now. But it was just enough where it wasn't like this total, like, wait, why are we at war? It was kind of like, okay, he's captured these guys. Now you've, like, provoked him. You've killed some of his, like, Bartholomitz has now killed some of Fritzless's soldiers. Okay, he's at war now. All right, so it wasn't total plot contrived. So I think if you can do that, if you can kind of foreshadow it, I think it works much better, and it's a lot more okay. So those are some lessons that I learned. Again, you know, got to learn more about my characters and more about the players, and I think it worked really well. It was a good session, and again, everyone was kind of like, that was a lot of fun. That was a nice change of pace, and it was a long day, and everyone was like, all right, that was good. And they all went to sleep, and I think I actually dozed off right after that. I was like, okay, we're done. And I think 5 minutes later, I was like asleep. Because it's a lot of work, DM. Especially in these conditions, it was a lot of work. But so, that's number 2. Again, guys, thanks for watching. If you have comments, that's what the comment section's for. Let me know how I did. And, yeah, I'll hopefully try and get the next one out soon. See you next time.